What's going on, Philadelphia? I gotta tell you, if you have any AJ Dillon or Josh Uche takes, you are thirsty for the birds being back, and you are in the right place. However, I have no takes on those two gentlemen. Sounds like some really nice depth signings, and that's the polite way of saying these things because I don't know what I would do with either of those guys at this moment without a draft and without, more free agency to come. I want to remind you about all the other times that we have gone through a really tough, short offseason, including winning a Super Bowl in 2017, losing one in 22, and what I think the Eagles have finally learned in their lessons, which we talked about a little bit on the last show. But more importantly, I really want to drive it home to you today because I cannot take any, well, yes, I can. Actually, it's very entertaining in our Discord to see Ryan and Mr. Clay constantly lose their shit like a bunch of babies about CJ and like this is going to be another bad year. And I feel as though that's beginning to brew a little bit. We expected some fireworks right away. I kind of did too. A lot of action. And I think all of that is going to happen. There's a lot of bonus roster money that is due, I believe, on Sunday. So what's Andrew Brandt's famous last line? Deadlines spurn action. So I feel like it's going to be a very busy weekend. And this is for all of you that sound like Ryan and Mr. Clay. And it is Mr. Clay until further notice. I think I've pretty much explained to you how dumb it was for the Philadelphia Eagles to handle their offseason in 2018 and moving out of a Super Bowl, and they were just rewarding everybody and kind of just filling positions. I'm going to remind you of the key signings in 2018, and I still can't believe that this team made the playoffs somehow. Corey Nelson at linebacker, Haloti Ngata at nose tackle for a few minutes. Mike Wallace, do you remember that? Paul Warlow, who unfortunately tore his ACL the moment training camp happened. Richard Rodgers, Marcus Wheaton. Yes, that Marcus Wheaton. They lost Bo Allen, LeGarrette Blount, Trey Burton, Patrick Robinson, all happened that year. They also traded for Michael Bennett and Daryl Worley. I don't think Daryl Worley even made the roster. We traded Torrey Smith for him at that point, and the draft picks are the only thing that saved us. You want to know why? Because they just won us a fucking Super Bowl. Dallas Goedert, Avonte Maddox, Josh Sweat. There was some son of a bitch on Twitter that kept needling me for years because I said Josh Sweat is going to be one of the steals in the 4th round. That guy's great. Wherever you are, fuck you, man. Then again, same thing. It was the same mentality. Let's go replace players with players and body types with body types. Malik Jackson. Do you remember that? A 3-year deal. Then Deshaun Jackson comes back in 19. And Jordan Howard. Nick Foles left. Michael Bennett left. That was a disaster. And then the drafts kept getting worse on top of the bad signings. Andre Dillard, Miles Sanders, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Whew. It was really bad. It was also, guess what? Really bad after the 22 season, after the Super Bowl loss. I don't even need to remind you, but I'm going to do it anyway. Rashad Penny, Greedy Williams, Marcus Mariota, Justin Evans, Nicholas Moreau, Terrell Edmonds, Kentavious Street, Zacchaeus, Dan Arnold, who was a tight end, Dennis Kelly came back, Zach Cunningham, Miles Jack, who then retired, and that was to replace Hargrave, TJ Edwards, Marcus Epps, Andre Dillard, which whatever, Miles Sanders, Swift came, we all that. You lost Kazir White, you lost Isaac Seumalo, Kevin Byard came on, blah, 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 blah. And what saved us? What saved that terrible-ass offseason? Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Tyler Steen, Sidney Brown, Keely Ringo, Tanner McKee, and everyone's favorite breakout star, Moro Amajo. We are still unsure, probably about 3 of those guys, but the rest of them, we can pretty much go bing, 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 and everybody else is a contributor at this point in time with still room to grow. And it is because of that you should be excited about what they are doing now. Yes, it might take you a couple of more days to get over CJ. I get it. They're going to lose more. We're just preparing ourselves for this. And maybe some few surprises. And yes, I thought something really shitty was going to happen the moment it hit 4 p.m. yesterday. And it didn't. These 2 guys that they just signed are nothing but depth pieces. Because what they're about to do, and by the way, Adam Schefter's been in your ear for like the last 2 2 days shoving this, but the Eagles have 20 picks over the last 2 years. It's like some mythical creature coming out of the sea and going like, this never exists for any other team. The San Francisco 49ers are in the same situation, okay? There's a lot of teams that have more than 10 picks or around 10 picks or at least more than 7 over the next 2 years because of comp picks, because everyone else is starting to catch up too once they saw what the Eagles were doing long time ago, 5-6 years ago. Whenever this was kind of implemented and starting to become popular, the Eagles were very much ahead of it. Now they understand losing free agents ain't that bad anymore. You're going to recoup them in picks in many ways, and we are just seeing the fruits and labor of all of this start to manifest itself right now. It's not as if suddenly Howie Roseman and this team started drafting better. They fired a whole bunch of fucking people to get this way. They knew that. They know that there is no way to sustain a team because they have gone through this several times now. Multiple years, and not even just after losing Super Bowls, just bad seasons. There is no way in their system that you can take out a shitload of money from the bank and say, guess what, players? We are going to take care of you while things are happening. We're not going to wait like the Bengals. We're not going to make you wait like the San Francisco 49ers and Brock Purdy and what they're about to go through. All of this. It's why people want to stick around and stay here and get this money, because they're willing to pay it while you're still getting your ass kicked, and that rarely happens in this league. It's one of the biggest advantages in contracts of why they can retain great players when they finally acquire them, either through the draft, trade, free agency, etc. So in order to keep paying the big core of players, which they found, which I just said, you know what I'm saying? Like, the last time they won a Super Bowl, they drafted players to win this Super Bowl, all 3 of them, and they barely had any picks and nailed it. Now, you're giving them 20 picks to do this and to keep this core fresh, which is what we discussed on the last episode. You have to do that anyway. 33% of this roster's changing over no matter what, so you might as well make it lean, young, and keep paying your star players. We have waited decades for this organization to be in this position, to have this kind of foresight. And yes, I don't know what's going to happen yet. I have no idea. If you're already telling yourself that this season is a wash because they can't spend any money in free agency, Jesus Christ, how can I make you happy? Is it February? Is it the February darkness? Is it the basement that we're spending too much time in? I get it. I'm down there with my son fucking 24/7. It's crazy down there, okay? You can think of some nasty, worldly things, especially while it's cold and you've been drinking too much whiskey. I totally understand that. So maybe we just need to touch a little grass, okay, if we're freaking out about all this, and have a little faith in a team that has nailed the drafts after winning a Super Bowl. Pretty good. Well, I mean, it's only happened once, but their draft record since even 2020 is why everyone is able to talk about all this stuff. It's why everyone that leaves the Eagles knows they're going to get paid, and they don't even care if they walk because they're going to get paid. They don't love this team like you and me. This is a job. Do you think Milton Williams is sad about not being an Eagle? Fuck no. No, he knows that he worked his ass off, that this team developed him, and that this Eagles team recouped the same draft pick for Milton Williams. It's a wash, a literal wash, because when he walks and signs, it's a 3rd-round pick right back in their holster. And if you do listen to everything that Adam Schefter has been describing, he's basically telling you, get ready for something to happen at the draft. Possibly twice. You know, I still think they're going to trade out of the 1st round and go get a future first next year or whatever, because that would be a really smart thing to do when you're picking at 32, even if that's the next Lamar Jackson and you have Carson Wentz on your roster. Ooh, I love Jalen Hurts. I would have loved to see that. I'm not. This is not a Hurts thing. You just know what happened the last time, okay? It was very hurtful. But listen, when is the last time that Howie Roseman, Jeffrey Lurie were okay either going in on, well, we hope this works out, and not replacing, drafting, getting another starter immediately? And look, I'm happy to be wrong about Kelee Ringo, because maybe it's just PR, but I don't buy into it as much as they're trying to lead on, or like it's his spot to lose or anything like that. They need to find whoever the next Darius Slay is at 27-28. I have no idea who that is, and this might be the person at safety. A pretty premier safety or a pretty premier corner. That's the only thing that I would say is next. And they have too many draft picks. That's the other part about this. They have so much ammo to do all this stuff. Who are you replacing on offense with any of these picks right now? Maybe Jahad Dotson. Maybe. Maybe there is a guard that's going to come in and compete. Sure. Are they taking a first or second round pick to do either one of those things? No, they are not. So most of these draft picks are not even going to make the team. I would say from the 4th round down, good luck, have fun, because you only have to fill 2 real starters on the other side of the ball. And you also, despite, Uche being here, that's depth. That's a rotational piece. So they're not walking into this season without an acumen, somebody. And all of this could drum up to be the craziest thing in a positive way. If a triple jump is coming for Abdul Carter, sign me up. As long as no one important gets traded, which is basically a pipe dream. I get that. But I would much rather see this play out the way the Eagles are thinking, the way everybody's saying, hey, be patient here, because the last time that happened, A.J. Brown was here. And I don't foresee a team that just went to the Super Bowl doing anything crazy dangerous where you're going to break the back of the core of this team. We have got to get used to the fact that we are trying, at least, to create some form of dynasty, and I don't know what that means in today's NFL, and you're going to point to the Chiefs, and of course remember the Patriots and all that. Sure, and I'm not expecting back-to-back Super Bowls or anything like that. I am expecting this team to be back there twice in the next 5 years, though, somewhere. I think Jalen has 2 more rings in him somewhere, and they might, who knows, they might break history and do all this stuff. They believe it. I know you believe it, and nothing we saw was a mirage. It's almost like we are starting to believe the bullshit of the criticism from last year, and it's starting to seep in and going like, oh man, maybe it was just a good run and this is all over now. This is just something new, guys. We're just in the something new phase, and there hasn't been any major starters acquired for the Philadelphia Eagles yet, and I just implore you to wait for the weekend because things have to move. Kirk Cousins is not staying in Atlanta. Aaron Rodgers is going to come out of his cave, and I think those are the things that are kind of holding this thing up. It is not holding up the Washington Commanders, however, and this is the last thing I want to touch on because it's exactly what I'm trying to tell everybody. I cannot believe the amount of praise for the Washington Commanders. It is out of control. Out of control. Of course you're going to make moves. Of course you have a rookie quarterback. Yes, you go for it in these situations. They're just choosing the wrong people to fucking go for it. Larry Tunsil, have we not been watching? Did we not even watch last year? You can give me all of the bullshit about how the Texans line is crazy and disgusting, and I would agree with you. So why would you get rid of the very best thing that is supposedly anchoring that? As you're still trying to build around C.J. Stroud. Why would you do that when you were just in the playoffs? Doesn't that throw a red flag for anybody? No one? Everybody's just buying, well, Larry Tunsil, look at PFF. He declined really bad last year. Really bad, especially running the football. And people act like he is the top 3 left tackle in the league, and I don't know what the fuck they're watching. There aren't too many linemen, period, in the history of this league at his age, and you keep hearing he's only 30. That man will be playing at 31 years old with plenty to go. This is why the Commanders are going to fail next year, and they have no idea. They don't even know. They're pumping up their franchise so much. Every single signing is 30 plus, 30 plus, 30 plus, 30 plus. What does that remind you of? That fucking, all of those lists that I just went over is everything that the Commanders sound like to me. We got a little taste of success. We do not know how to handle it. We've got a lot of cap room. We trust our GM. The league loves us right now. People are putting Jaden Daniels in the top 5. They're believing their own stink without even going, wow, that was awesome. But guys, 55-23. How do we close that gap? Where do we find more young talent? They didn't. And they're going to keep relying on these old guys to keep going back there and going back there. And listen, if they nail the draft, just like I described the Eagles over the last couple of years, yeah, I'm going to start to be worried. But every single one of these moves so far scream Dan Snyder 2010. A bunch of names, a bunch of 30s around it, and everyone is just expecting them to be massively better just because of that. And I still don't buy what the Commanders sold us last year. Why are we asking and answering the questions? We won the whole fucking thing. These guys have to answer the questions, and by the way, first answers, fucking terrible. Terrible. Listen, the NFC East is weird. I'm not going to ever think that the Eagles can win the division back-to-back just because it's just been such a weird anomaly. Washington isn't though. I don't ask me how Dallas or the Giants might do. Do not ask me that. I don't know. I do not fear this Washington team at all. They are so far behind. And again, it's a Josh Harris run team. There is no sustainability. It is up or it is down, and there is no in between. One last quick reminder, the I'd Rather Be Watching the Bird hats are now available for pre-sale. It is the only thing that I will push to you for support of this show. No ads, just good stuff. And I wanted to let you know that I'm giving away 2 hats and $100 on Twitter right now. That's in the description down below, along with a link where you can go pre-order. And I hope I am right back here talking to you this weekend with some breaking news or some holy shit trades. As always, I'd rather be watching the birds with you. See ya!